Hey, what's up, everybody? I know we haven't been here in a little bit, but we're stoked to have the one and only, the Mad Jester himself, Matt Chester, back. Dynasty Diehards, folks. We're like a week and a half away from being at the Senior Bowl, boots on the ground. We're going to be live probably 4 or 5 times. We'll have a schedule short up here at the end of next week for what we're going to be doing the week at the Senior Bowl. It's not just the games, and that's what I want everyone to know, that we're going to be on the ground for the practices, for the press conferences, for all of it. We're going to be there for all of the events, covering everything going on. You know what, Matt? You know what I want to find? I want to find this year's Tyjae Spears. That guy we all love, but nobody was that high on. And now you're looking back on it like, I wish I'd gotten him at a discount back then, right?
Yep.
I started talking about Tyjae Spears in March. I watched his Tulane film. I was like, this kid has it. He can do
electric.
It all.
A lot of fun.
What more do you want out of a guy? So that's what I want. We're going to find this year's Tyjae. Well, yes, that, of course. We're going to find this year's Tyjae Spears, guys. It is going to happen. I believe it. I know it. I feel it in my soul. I love that intro.
Me too.
Just the music. And I tried to find the old logo. I know you've requested it come back, and I was going to bring it back for you. I can't find it.
That's all right. I was just looking at that. I like ours that goes up during the preview. It looks like a bulldog's teeth, like clamping something.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I was going for. Like, we're fierce, man. We're diehard.
Sure. Yeah.
Really stoked. We're going to be rolling out some diehard merch here pretty soon. We'll be debuting it at the Senior Bowl. So if you're checking out that content, you're going to see some cool hats and shirts. We'll probably have in our upcoming Dynasty Diehards merch shop, Matt. I'm looking forward to that. I dig it too. We've got Toronto Dave in the chat here on YouTube. Toronto Dave, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to see you. We've got Jamie in the chat. What's up, Nate and Matt? Jamie, thanks for always tuning in. It's always great to see you. We've had a lot happen here, Matt. I think it's time to kind of get into the football side of things here. It's been an interesting week with the wild card weekend. Tua and KC. Let's start there. That was ugly. It was ugly.
Not great.
Yeah. Not great. They bow out in round one. Brutally cold game. Tua never looked in command. They were able to put up 7 points. And this is an offense that has been incredibly dynamic all season. You can talk about the cold, but don't good teams just
find a way?
They find a way.
Yeah, they also got decimated by injuries, and that really doesn't get given enough credit for where they ended the season. I don't think Raheem Mostert was playing. I think they lost Teron Armstead. Yeah, they lost Teron Armstead and one of their other tackles. Waddle's been on and off the injury report all year. So has Tyreek Hill. They kind of dragged their way into the final weeks, and he and Mahomes on the other side of the ball were both disappointing. But I don't know if I would discount them moving forward because of it. It was also, I think, -24 with wind chill.
Yes. No, it was cold. Look, it was cold. Yeah. I was cold. But you've also got a player by the name of Tyreek Hill who is very familiar with playing in these conditions. So what's look, we can make all the excuses we want. All right. I'm buying Tua because people
That's
are so
what I was
down
going to ask you.
And it's worth it. Go ahead and buy him, because I don't necessarily believe that this soft QB narrative is fair. I don't think it's fair. I think that it was a tough situation with a team, like you said, decimated by injuries, that had a tough time against a team that typically they get if they're not playing well during the regular season, they get going in the playoffs. Travis Kelce had it clicking. Rasheed Rice has started to step up. It's like a true wide receiver one in that offense, which is really scary for the rest of the AFC in these playoffs now that he's actually got one. Maybe Kansas City's just that good. It's a combination of the cold, the injuries on the Miami side, and Kansas City is just starting to ramp it up. This is the Kansas City team we thought we were going to see all season.
Well, somewhat. So Kansas City's starting to ramp it up, but it's really their defense that took over this year. Their offense has usually been like top 5. And this is the first time that I remember Andy Reid or Pat Mahomes not having a top 5 offense, but it's also the first time they've had like one of the best defenses in the league. And that really came out.
And that's a fair point. And their defense has been their weak spot for quite a long time.
Right. So they're kind of backdooring their way into the NFC Championship, probably. What is your buy price for Tua if you're in a Superflex 12 team?
Oh, man, not high. I mean, I think you can get him for a second round and like a bench piece at this point.
Oh,
like a late second.
I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if you could get him for a late first, to be honest. So.
Well, I'm not paying a late first.
Okay.
I've seen him go. I'll have to pull up the trade. I'll see if I can find it. But I saw him go for a second. So,
ooh, that's interesting.
If you package a second with a veteran that's maybe got a year or 2 left in him, I mean, I think that's a fair price for Tua right now.
Okay.
Because if you look at, and we'll know more after the Senior Bowl here, what the depth of these rookie drafts are actually going to really look like. But at this point right now, I mean, I think you can get a good piece with a second. I think you can get a viable piece with a second. Buy Tua.
Gotcha.
Right. Okay. Exactly. All right. Now, Joe Flacco, moving on to the Browns-Texans game. Joe Flacco, I mean, what a cool run for a 38-year-old dude. That used to feel old to me. Now I'm 41, almost 42. So he's still young, but like in the NFL world, like a 38-year-old guy who came off of a mediocre at best short stint in New York, didn't play well with the Broncos when he was in Denver, to have the success he had and to get them to the playoffs, but also what Kevin Stefanski did with 4 quarterbacks to get this team to the playoffs is pretty damn impressive. Do you think Deshaun Watson is worth buying right now in Dynasty?
Objectively, yes, because I have I received a cold offer going into the playoffs last year when, Deshaun Watson obviously missed the last part of the year, and Brees didn't have his last like stretch of 25-point games to end the season. Well, going into the fantasy playoffs, right before the trade deadline around week 14, I just got a cold offer. Somebody wanted my Justin Fields, and they sent me Deshaun Watson and Brees Hall. I smash accepted. Very happy to have Brees and Deshaun Watson. I'll try and figure out what I can do with later. Well, I've been trying to push Deshaun Watson since then, and I can't really get much for him. And when that's the case, you have to start looking at the other half, right? So I would say he's objectively worth testing the waters. If you don't mind having him on your team,
Yeah, no, I agree. Now, Jamie in the chat says, no, don't buy Watson. Diehard Cleveland fan, lives in Cleveland, I do believe. But I'm with you. I think any player at the right price is a buy. And if you're not risk averse, take a swing. Take a swing on Deshaun Watson.
Well, how about this? As far as the Tua or Deshaun?
Tua.
Okay.
Just simply when it comes down to kind of that toss-up for me, it's character.
Fair enough.
And I'd rather have the character guy over we know what Deshaun Watson is.
Right.
Pretty clear. Now to the other side of this, CJ Stroud. The legend of CJ Stroud is growing, man. This dude, QB 11 is rookie season on a team that wasn't supposed to do anything. A Texans team with a rookie coach, with a rookie quarterback, with a rookie wide receiver who by all accounts was their wide receiver 2 from day one, Nico Collins and a journeyman and Noah Brown. And then you look at your backfield, Damian Pierce and Devin Singletary. Like this doesn't, we talked about it before the season started. There's a short on our channel specifically speaking to this, that Devin Singletary and Damian Pierce are both just like so meh. There was nothing to be excited about in that backfield, which proved true. But CJ Stroud kind of carried this team on his back, especially towards the end of the season after you missed the 2 games, 24-32, 20-26, 3 touchdowns over those last 2 games. He comes into the playoffs and he just smokes the Browns, a defense that has been very good all season. How far can this Texans team go? And what are you paying for CJ Stroud right now? What are you willing to pay to get CJ Stroud on your dynasty roster?
I think his price is too high for me to acquire.
Okay.
I don't know that he's going to be less than 3 firsts, depending on 3 random firsts, right? He's made it into that tier. Sure. I'm seeing him go around 108 in Superflex drafts, which is fine. If that's where you want to take him in right around the Trevor Lawrence range, maybe a little bit above that, somewhere, Stroud and J. Jeff, kind of the same thing.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
Depends on how you want to build and what you want to go with.
Exactly.
It's all promise. Everything looks very promising from here forward. I don't know that after this last year, watching all these quarterbacks go down, if I'm trying to send a bunch of extra assets to condense into one quarterback right now, just because we've seen what Joe Flacco can step in and do. And, I think towards going into the fantasy playoffs, I think there was like 11 backup QBs. So it just as far as game theory goes, I don't know that I'm going to be spending up for any high-end quarterback right now, unless there's a huge discount in the Mahomes window opening because of his low offensive output. I just don't know that I'm going to be condensing all my pieces at this point.
I hear you. I hear what you're saying. What I'll say about CJ Stroud is this feels different. This feels like a guy who, remember how high we were on Trevor Lawrence? Remember how badly we wanted Trevor Lawrence to just be this like football Jesus?
Right.
Yep. And he really just hasn't been. And for whatever reasons you want, CJ Stroud feels like he's going to do what Trevor Lawrence was supposed to do. He took his team into the second round. He took them to the divisional round of the playoffs in his rookie season with a team that had no business getting this far. But DeMeco Ryans is a phenomenal head coach, and he has that defense rolling. The offensive line is playing well, and they don't need a running game to succeed. Imagine what this team can do over the next couple of seasons if they actually get a competent running back. They have a couple of picks in the first round they can use.
Do they?
I mean,
I thought that they gave up their first to Arizona. Did they not?
I'll have to double check this. I don't believe they did, but I'll pull it up here in a minute. Regardless, this is a team that's all they need is a running back. And then this offense gets super scary. And CJ Stroud gets even scarier because now the pressure's off of him. Right? He doesn't have to throw the ball as often or be the one who is actually marching them down the field. They've got a running game. I'm all in on CJ Stroud. I think that this Texans team is going to be very good for a while. I think DeMeco Ryan is going to be on that kind of Kyle Shanahan arc, which comes out of the Shanahan system, where these are just good teams and he finds ways to win every year. But could you imagine Kyle Shanahan with CJ Stroud?
No, I don't want to. That would be nasty.
But that is exactly what we could be looking at with this Houston team.
Well, so how do you feel about Nico and Tank Dell? Where are you putting them as far as wide receiver rankings? Okay, sorry, I jumped it.
Ooh, no, it's okay. I love it. See, same brain here. This is why we're good together. I love Tank Dell.
Do you think he's the one?
I think that wide receiver core is scary with Nico Collins and Tank Dell because I think they're both very good wide receivers. I do believe that they're ranked way too low right now. I'd have to pull it up, but I believe they're both in the 20s and 30s.
I'm not
100% positive. I was just going through rankings yesterday. I'll have to double check.
Twitter's
ranked is too low.
Twitter's a different landscape, but I think I saw a poll for Nico versus T. Higgins, and it was pretty overwhelmingly Nico Collins, which is a huge shock coming from last season. In their current situations, I'm okay with that.
Sure. No, I'm 100% okay with it. So and Dalton Schultz too, like kind of sneaky, and watch out for Brevin Jordan over the next couple of seasons. He made some big plays towards the end of the season, and I'm not saying that he'll like 100% be someone that you should roster, but he might be worth kicking the tires on if you've got a spot and you're in tight end premium and you're looking at a guy that might kind of walk into some volume if Dalton Schultz doesn't stick around. Brevin Jordan can be that dude. I can see it too.
Little undersized, but we did see him break off a 76-yard touchdown last game.
Trey McBride's undersized too, and look what he's done. So an interesting comment from Jamie here, and he is correct. Saquon Barkley is a free agent.
That's exactly who I was thinking should end up there. That would be really, really fun.
That just wouldn't be fair. Wouldn't be fair at all. All right. Now I want to talk about this Dallas Cowboys team, and we're going to be really brief. I have some things to say. They're not kind. I cannot believe they're keeping Mike McCarthy. I saw this coming. I think we all did. We knew they were going to lose in the first round.
So real quick, Dalton Schultz is a free agent as well.
Okay, so the Schultz might not be back.
So mark that up for the Brevin Jordan interest.
Brevin Jordan.
There are a few other running backs. I'm sorry to cut you off, but since we're talking about Saquon Barkley, there's a few. There's Saquon Barkley is a free agent. Josh Jacobs, Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry, DeAndre Swift, Tony Pollard, since we're getting into the Cowboys, Antonio Gibson. There's a good amount of very decent, usable running backs that could end up.
Because I was about to talk about Pollard. Do you really think Jerry Jones lets him go?
I don't know what Jerry Jones is going to do. I'm not going to prognosticate. Right.
So what are you doing? Right. I'm selling Pollard right now to anybody who will buy him.
Okay. What do you want for him? I don't have any is the problem.
I don't either. Oh. Neither do I.
It's easy to say somebody's a sell when we're out from the beginning, right?
Everybody was so high on Pollard getting his backfield to himself, and I looked at it like that's not his style. He needs that 1A to be the 1B who can be the running back 8.
Right.
Without that, he can't. It's like the theory where like a guy like Justin Jefferson needs a Jordan Addison or a KJ Osborne who's going to pull coverage. You need that other running back who does the other things well. Pollard didn't have that because they had Rico Dowdle.
Right.
And Ronald Jones until he got suspended and then cut. Dallas needs to get it. And what it comes down to, I think, for the Cowboys is they don't have a run game. If they had Zeke, this is a different story. They
just
make this a game.
A goal line back, pounded up the middle.
Goal line, pounded up the middle back. Somebody who can get those tough yards because that's not Pollard. It's like watching DeAndre Swift try and get short yardage gains. It just doesn't happen. If he doesn't have open space, he's not going to get the yardage, which is why he had problems in Detroit and why he has had problems in Philly because he can't get those yards. That's why they have to do the tush push because they don't have a back that can do that for them. So they have to risk Jalen Hurts and force Jason Kelce to retire. Yeah, Dallas. This loss to me was more about Dallas than it was Green Bay, I think. Jordan Love played well enough. He's
really
good.
Well. So you can't harp on CJ Stroud's performance without pointing out that Jordan Love had almost identical numbers across the board. 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I want to say like 276 yards or whatever, almost within 2 yards of CJ Stroud. Same exact passer rating. Actually, he had a perfect QB rating, didn't he? Jordan Love.
Yes,
so there's maybe he's dollar store CJ Stroud, which is fine. I would definitely maybe in a heartbeat send 2 late first for Jordan Love right now, and that's probably much more likely to get done than the same price for Stroud.
Yeah, I like Jordan Love. Maybe I'm underplaying him because I just want to buy. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I like what he did. I like him in this offense. I like that they're young. This is a team that can all grow together. They need to get younger at running. They need to get younger at running back. But I think they can do that in the draft pretty effectively. They can do that in the 2nd or 3rd round.
Yeah, and that won't be a problem. There's also a lot of free agents, like we said, but their top 6 pass catchers. I think that there are 2 sophomores. There are 2 guys that played in their 2nd year this year, and 4 of those guys are rookies. So it's only going to keep growing, right? You're looking at like a cumulative 40 years between them in the NFL. And at least 20 of those are all going to be together at Green Bay just because of the rookie contracts.
Yep.
And all that points to you might not want to decide if it's going to be a Dontavian Wicks week or a Jaden Reed week or Romeo Doubs had 150 yards. But you know who's going to benefit from all of that is the one guy who's passing them all the football, which is Jordan Love. So when it's kind of a dispersed offense, there is a way to funnel that into fantasy production for your team, and that's Jordan Love.
Yep. So let's move on here real quick. I want to blow through these last few games here. We've got the Lions. Like, damn it, man, they're good. Just a good really team, fun. And they're fun to watch. And I want to talk about real quick Jared Goff. Jared Goff right now is a buy to me. He's 29 years old. He doesn't turn 30 until October of next season. He's got weapons around him and a franchise that believes in him. What more do you want? QB 11 this year.
Great.
What more do you want?
Nothing. He's a less cringy Cousins. And if that's what we get, I'm perfectly happy with that.
100%. And
you know what we want? We want a long-term contract. That's what more we want out of Jared Goff. And that's all we want.
He's sitting at QB 16 in the Fantasy Pros Dynasty ECR right now. Okay. I see it. Finished QB 11 next year, another year in the offense, another year with guys like Sam Laporta, with Amon-Ra. Who knows what they're going to do in the draft? Their line's all coming back.
Very strong line.
Back. Very strong line. Gibbs. This isn't a team that really needs much. Maybe they can get Jameson Williams going next year. I don't really see it happening, but maybe. This is a Dallas team that I'm pretty much buying all. Sam Laporta, I want Amon-Ra. Khalif Raymond at cost is a really good buy, I think.
You can get Jameson Williams right now. You can get Jameson Williams right now for a late second. And
he's worth. I guess it's worth a shot, right?
Well, he's worth keeping in your pocket, and then after blow up games, or if he has like 3 15-point games to start out the season, you'll be able to sell him for a good chunk more than you bought him for. He's an interesting piece, but he does help out the offense more than he helps out his fantasy managers who are starting him. He does help out Jared Goff more than he helps out anybody putting him in the starting lineup in fantasy.
Yep. No, absolutely. Now I want to talk about the Bills just steamrolling the Steelers. I don't think that's surprising. We know where we sit on these Bills players, but what about some of these Steelers assets? Like, I don't think you can reasonably bring Kenny Pickett back, right? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Well, you bring him back, but you've got to bring in another quarterback to compete.
He was benched.
And it's not
for Mason Rudolph. And I don't even know, was he dressing out towards the end of the season, Kenny Pickett, or was he the third emergency quarterback? Okay.
No, he was dressing out.
Okay. Then it was Mac Jones. Yeah. But yeah, same bucket. Mac Jones, Kenny Pickett. You thought you were getting a safe guy last year in the 9th round of a startup, and we weren't. And that's what it comes down to.
So I think it's time to move on from Kenny Pickett. How do you feel about Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Jalen Warren, Muth? How do you feel about these guys?
They're going to go up with better quarterback play.
Yep.
Deontay Johnson has shown that he can be a target hog. He can get 10 targets a game. It's the quality of the targets that can go up. Can't really go down.
Well, unless they bring in Carson Wentz.
I don't know, man. I'd almost rather Carson Wentz than anybody on the Steelers roster right now. But I could also see them getting somebody like a. I've been wanting Kirk Cousins to go there for a few years now.
I could see that.
They could use a Jameis
Justin
Winston.
Fields could be in play.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So
who knows?
They're all buys on the cheap. I don't know if George Pickens is going to cost too much because he's flashy. They're all worth kind of investing in. Even Najee might be a buy right now if you get him for an early second, because there's not going to be anybody
I'd be fine with that.
Coming in to replace him. There's not going to be anybody coming in this class to replace him on your fantasy roster, right?
Right. Okay, now Philly, dude, is Nick Sirianni out?
I don't think so. I think they're going to just try and. I don't know what's going on internally. I know AJ Brown has been upset. I think he's been injured, but I was hoping for a squeaky wheel game to end the season, and that unfortunately did not come to pass.
I'm looking at this team, and they lost both coordinators, and both sides of the ball have been markedly worse all season long. So was it Sirianni or was it Shane Steichen and
It might have been Steichen. Steichen's a stud. Might be.
I think it was Steichen, because look what he did in Philly or in Indy. He almost made the playoffs with freaking Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, buddy.
So I don't know. I don't really know what to do with Philly right now. For me, they're all kind of like wait and see. I want to see what the team does coaching wise. I want to see if they maybe, make some changes at coordinator. But right now I'm holding everybody in Philly except for DeAndre Swift. Bye-bye. If you still have DeAndre Swift, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but DeAndre Swift ain't one. Now Tampa Bay on the other side. what about this offense? Like, where are we sitting on? We're going to start with Baker Mayfield. How do you feel about Baker moving forward? I mean, I think he might be their guy for the next couple of seasons at least. He's still young.
I agree.
This guy's still got a lot left in the tank.
Especially in quarterback years where 20 to 29 doesn't matter. I think he's going to be 28 years old. So, you know, what you're really hoping for with any dynasty players for them to last 5 years for you and be able to make a difference in your lineup, which is what he was doing. Do you know what he was in points per game or where he ended overall in the QB ranks?
Have to pull it up. I can pull that up. In ranks, I'm not sure. I think he's in the 20s though. I do believe.
As far as dynasty ranks, as far as consensus, or as far as where
he was QB 10 for the 2023 season. I don't see any reason that can't keep up. Like we keep talking about, well, Mike Evans is going to fall off. I don't know that he's going to fall off yet. I think we get another season of Mike Evans, and when Mike Evans falls off, Chris Godwin. This is an offense I think that can sustain this for a couple of seasons. I'm not saying that Baker's a guy who in 5 or 6 years is still on your roster, even in Superflex. But
I don't even know we're going to be live on Sunday.
Yeah, right.
I wonder, is every single Bucks player a buy right now, aside from Rachaad White? Are they? I feel like they're all probably about half price of what they should be.
Yep, and I'm still buying Rachaad White.
Okay, what do you think? What is the going price for Rachaad White?
Late first, early second.
Okay,
which I'm okay with. I mean, he's a bell cow, and Todd Bowles isn't going to move away from what they're doing with White. It worked this season. It got him into the divisional round of the playoffs. I just got something in my eye. That's always fun. Sorry, guys. Just digging in here. The last thing I want to talk about, we'll hit this really briefly, and then we'll get everybody out of here. Caleb Williams finally declares for the draft. And then we get the news yesterday that the Bears are interviewing his quarterbacks coach from USC. You may have heard this guy's name before. I mean, I guess if you're really into football and you're just a nerd, Cliff Kingsbury could be.
Air Raid Cliff.
Air Raid Cliff might be heading to Chicago to coach up Caleb Williams.
Is Eberflus gone, or are they looking for an offensive coordinator? Is the head coach spot?
No, Eberflus is still there. They fired Getsy.
Okay.
So this will be the third offensive coordinator in 3 years. If Justin Fields sticks around, it'll be his fourth offensive coordinator in 4 years. Fields is gone, though, right? They're going to move him. They'll probably move him on draft day, I would assume. Maybe to move back up into the first round, maybe get another pick there in the top 20. Wouldn't surprise me. Where he goes, I have no clue. Maybe he ends up in Atlanta with Belichick, because that seems like kind of a foregone conclusion.
That Belichick's going to Atlanta. I can't really speculate on the Fields versus Caleb thing. If they can pull off another haul like they did last year, sending their pick to David Tepper in Carolina, if they can do that again, they absolutely should. If they can get a high-end 2025 rookie pick, rookie first, and then still an early 2024 first, and then a superstar like DJ Moore. What is $35 million? Who is that? Is that really that much of a deciding factor?
Not in the NFL.
Is it really the price difference between, the rookie contract versus Fields?
Well, the Broncos are going to eat what on Russell Wilson if they cut him? They're like $60 or $70 million. So no, in the NFL world, if you have an ownership group that has enough money, it doesn't matter. So that's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Who knows, man? Who knows?
Stay fluid.
I want to stay fluid, baby. That's what you got to do in Dynasty, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I want to remind everyone, please make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel here on Razzball and Dynasty Diehards here on YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter at FFDinoDiehards, at Razzball. You can find me at Nate Polvogt and Matt over there at FF Matt Chester. We would love to see you guys on Twitter. If you have questions for us, as always, you can DM us on the Diehards account. You can hit me up on my account. Hit Matt up. He might not get back to you, but I will. It's just what we do. We'll be back next week. We're going to talk a little bit more about what we're going to be doing at the Senior Bowl, maybe dig into some more rookies. If we've got some good NFL news to get into, we'll get into that as well. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. If you're watching us on Twitter, please make sure you find us on YouTube. We love those subs. We love it. It helps us keep bringing you all of this fire content. Until next time, guys, we'll see you.